wonderful. And time to time we will, after the end of each chapter, we always do that. So thank you very much. So now we are starting from chapter 8. We already started yesterday. Are you there?
Your voice is a little laggy, Prabhu.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Can hear you, Prabhu.
It's clear?
It is clear.
Ah, okay. So we started chapter 8 yesterday. You want to remind us what we did in chapter 8 yesterday?
Like Arjuna asking to Krishna as not as a friend but as a second lord. Arjuna has so many questions like what's the water, like something like that. From
My network that is breaking, or your Angel's network?
maybe in my side.
Her network is a bit slow.
Okay. I understand. Okay, so let's continue. So Arjuna asked various questions to Krishna, and particularly he referred to Krishna as Purushottama, which means Krishna is the supreme person. Purusha means person. Uttama means the topmost, the highest. Purushottama means the supreme person. That is where the supreme personality of Godhead came from. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Is anyone hearing me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Yeah, that is where the word the supreme personality of God came from. Purushottama, the supreme personality of Godhead. That is where the word proper translated to mean it is supreme personality of Godhead. You know, Uttama, Purusha Uttama. So Arjuna refers to Krishna as Purusha Uttama, the supreme person. So please clear my doubts, because you are the supreme person. I'm not saying you as a friend now, because friendship already ended a long time ago. Now please instruct me and clear my doubts and answer my questions. So he put all those questions to Krishna. So Krishna will start answering them. So go to test 3. We're supposed to be in test 3 today.
Prabhu, we haven't read the purport in in text 2.
Test 2, okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's read. Thank you. So let's read it. Who wants to go?
Okay. Okay. Lord of sacrifice may refer to either Indra or Vishnu. Vishnu is the chief of primal demigods, including Brahma, Shiva, and Indra. But Indra is the chief of administrative demigods. Both Indra and Vishnu are worshipped by yajna performances. But here Arjuna asks who is actually the Lord of yajna sacrifice and how the Lord is hiding within the body of the entity. Arjuna addressed the Lord as Madhusudana because Krishna once killed a demon named Madhu. Actually, these questions, which are the nature of doubts, should not have arisen in the mind of Arjuna because Arjuna is Krishna conscious devotee. Therefore, these doubts are like demons. Since Krishna is so expert in killing demons, Arjuna here addressed him as Madhusudana, so that Krishna might kill the demoniac doubts that arises in Arjuna's mind. Now the word prayana in this verse is very significant because whatever we do in life will be tested at the time of death. Arjuna is very anxious to know of those who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness. What should be their position at the final moments? At the time of death, all the bodily functions are disrupted and the mind is not in proper condition. Thus, disturbed by the bodily institution, one will not be able to remember the Supreme Lord. Maharaj Kolatikara, a great devotee, praised, my dear Lord, just now I am quite healthy. It is better that I die immediately so that the swan of mine can take entrance of the stream of your Lord's faith. The metaphor is used because the swan, a bird of the water, takes pleasure in digging into the Lord's flowers, transporting profligacy to enter the Lord's flower. Maharaj Kara says to the Lord, now my mind is undisturbed. I am quite healthy. If I die immediately, thinking of your Lord's faith, then I am sure that my performance of your devotional service will become perfect. But if I have to wait for many devotion, I have to wait my natural death, then I do not know what will happen. Because at that time the body functions will be disrupted. My throat will be stuck up and I do not know whether I shall be able to chant your name. Better let me die immediately. Arjuna questions how a person can fix his mind in Krishna's lotus feet at such a time. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mother Angel. Thank you. So let's go to chapter 3. So Krishna is going to start answering Arjuna's questions. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhavo Dhyatma Nushchate Bhutabhavo Bhavakaro Visarga Karma Sangita. So Krishna already started answering a question from here. The Supreme Personality of God said, the indestructible transcendental living entity is called Brahman. And its internal nature is called Adhyatma, itself. Action pertaining to the development of the material body of the living entity is called karma, or fruitive activities. So how many questions Krishna has already answered here now? How many questions did Arjuna, did we say Arjuna asked yesterday? I mentioned it yesterday.
7 questions.
7.
Someone else want to try?
7 questions, Prabhu.
7 questions, very good. Okay. Now, how many has he answered?
3.
Tell us the 3.
The Brahman, the Adhyatma, and the fruitive activities are karma.
Brahman, Adhyatma, and Karma.
Fruitive activities.
Very good. I hope you are taking notes because it's very, very important for those who are going to summarize at the end. So Krishna already has answered Brahman, Adhyatma, and Karma. So how many remaining now?
4.
4, Prabhu.
Yes, please, let's take notes. Krishna already answered 3 in this verse. Okay, let's read the purpose.
I'll read it for both. Brahman is indestructible and eternally existing, and its constitution is not changed at any time. But beyond Brahman, there
Sorry,
is
Madam,
Brahman.
Put your mic in your mouth.
Yes?
Your voice is very low. We
Is
cannot
my
hear you.
voice very low?
A little.
Yes.
Put your mic
Now
in the
it's okay
mouth.
now.
It's very near my mouth.
Now it's very near.
Okay, I'll continue. But beyond Brahman, there is Parabrahman. Brahman refers to the living entity, and Parabrahman refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The constitutional position of the living entity is different from the position he takes in the material world. In material consciousness, his nature is to try to be the Lord of matter. But in spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness, his position is to serve the Supreme. When the living entity is in the material consciousness, he has to take on various bodies in the material world. That is called karma, or varied creation by the force of material consciousness. In the Vedic literature, the living entity is called Jivatma and Brahman, but he is never called Parabrahman. The living entity, Jivatma, takes different positions. Sometimes he merges into the dark material nature and identifies himself with matter, and sometimes he identifies himself with the superior spiritual nature. Therefore, he is called the Supreme Lord's marginal energy. According to his identification with material or spiritual nature, he receives a material or spiritual body. In the material nature, he may take a body from any of the 8,400,000 species of life, but in the spiritual nature, he has only one body. In material nature, he is manifested sometimes as man, demigod, animal, beast, bird, etc. According to his karma, material heavenly to attain material heavenly planets and enjoy their facilities, he sometimes performs sacrifice, yajna. But when his merit is exhausted, he returns to the earth again in the form of man. This process is called karma. The Chandogya Upanishad describes the Vedic sacrificial process. On the sacrificial altar, 5 kinds of offerings are made into 5 kinds of fire. The 5 kinds of fire are conceived of as the heavenly planets, clouds, the earth, man, and women. And the 5 kinds of sacrificial offerings are fate, the enjoyer of the moon, rain, grains, and the semen. In the process of the sacrifice, the living entity makes specific sacrifices to attain specific heavenly planets and consequently reaches them. When the merit of sacrifice is exhausted, the living entity descends to the earth in the form of rain, then takes on the form of grains, and then the grains are eaten by the man and transformed into semen, which impregnates a woman. And thus the living entity once again attains the human form to perform sacrifice and repeat the same cycle. In this way, the living entity perpetually comes and goes on the material path. The Krishna conscious person, however, avoids such sacrifices. He takes directly to Krishna consciousness and thereby prepares himself to return to Godhead. Impersonalist commentators on the Bhagavad Gita unreasonably assume that Brahman takes the form of Jiva in the material world, and to substantiate this, they refer to chapter 15, verse 7 of the Gita. But in this verse, the Lord also speaks of the living entity as an eternal fragment of himself, of myself. The fragment of God, the living entity, may fall down into material world, but the Supreme Lord, Achyuta, never falls down. Therefore, this assumption that the Supreme Brahman assumes the form of Jiva is not acceptable. It is important to remember that in Vedic literature, Brahman, the living entity, is distinguished from Parabrahman, the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, you're muted.
Sorry. I've been looking for this purport. I'm very happy to find it. Because I was thinking this purport was in the chapter 3, but I was wrong. Now I found a purport that is in chapter 8, text number 3, where Prabhupada explained how the living entity come into the world back from the heavenly planet. How many of you remember what happened? What Prabhupada said in the purport?
Prabhupada is describing the sacrificial process, right?
Okay, what happened, especially regarding to the living entity?
That there are five kinds of offerings. It starts from faith, and there are 5 kinds of sacrifice too. So it's like a cycle. The faith it goes to like the heavenly planets. If you have faith, then you become the enjoyer of the moon. And then it turns into clouds. The clouds turns into rain. The rain returns to the earth. The earth produces grains. The grains is being eaten by a man. The man releases semen, and it impregnates a woman, and then the man and the woman creates a child. So the child will now continue the process of sacrifice again with the offerings.
So my point is that this is how the living entity come back from heavenly planets. When the rain falls, they fall down and the soul enter into the grains. That is what they are trying. That is what Prabhupada is explaining in the purport. You see, many people cannot understand this process actually. I didn't even know that it's in the chapter 8, the purport. I was thinking about it. So every grain is a potential living entity. How many grains are we wasting? Oh, you think about it. And that is why you see some people, they don't waste the food, especially in India. When they're small, they are trained not to waste food. Prabhupada say the grains is called Lakshmi. One day Prabhupada was walking with his disciples and he was pointing his stick on the floor. What is that? And his disciples, they could not find anything. They were looking. What is that? What is Prabhupada pointing to? He's like, what is Prabhupada? I said, what is that? And they were looking, what is Prabhupada pointing to? And they looked very closely. They found one grain of rice. Prabhupada said, what is that? They said, yeah, Prabhupada, grain of rice. That is Lakshmi, pick it up. You see? So Prabhupada was even so cautious to the extent that even one grain of rice should not be wasted. One grain of rice. You see? Because just like he explained in the purport here, you know, every grain of rice is a potential living entity. So like that. So very nice report. Let's continue. Prabhu Pitamba is scratching his head. He wants to ask a question. When someone starts scratching their head in your class, they are thinking about what to ask. Prabhu Pitamba, go ahead. Ask your question.
So how about all the wasted prasadam? Like, of course, there's like a little bit like leftover there. So how it goes to the drain, or whenever I see it doesn't get fully finished, like everything gone on the food container. I just remember having flashback.
Yeah, that is why the manager should be very, very conscious that people don't waste grains. Because those grains, the people brought it to temple to give to Krishna. So the management should be very conscious that even one grain of rice does not waste. That is why in India they don't waste rice. I remember when I was in Jagannath Puri, they don't cook rice with salt in India. You know why? In Jagannath Puri especially, I don't know about other places. In Jagannath Puri, they don't cook rice with salt. You know why? When any rice that is left over, they will soak it inside water. So the following morning, they will just take it out of the water and put hot subji on it and eat it like that. So, but when you put salt inside rice, if you warm it again, it becomes a poison. You don't warm rice that is already, when you add the salt in rice, when you warm it, it becomes a poison instead of being a food. That is why they don't add salt to rice if it's going to be leftover. If there's going to be leftover, they don't add salt to it. Then the following morning, you can still eat it like that. But once you put salt in it, once you warm it, it becomes poison for the body. And Prabhupada specifically say rice should be eaten hot. If you eat rice cold, it's not good for the body also. That is what Prabhupada said. Okay. So let's continue. And food should not be wasted. Very, very important. Because to actually grow 1 grain of rice, how long does it take to grow 1 grain of rice?
$3 months.
How long does it take to grow a rice on it? 3 months?
3 months, maybe, Prabhu.
Who said that 3 months? Oh, 3 months. Oh, okay, yes, 3 months. It's 3 months. So every grain you thrown away, the time is wasted, the effort is wasted, the money is wasted. And there's a child somewhere in the world who is looking for that grain just to sustain their lives. Okay, so let's continue about Krishna's reply to Arjuna. Adibhutam Sharokpa Purushas Shadi Devatam Adijagyo Aham Avatra Dehe Britam Vara. So Krishna continues to answer Arjuna's question. O best of the embodied beings, Krishna is a very sweet talker. See, Krishna is teaching us how to talk also. Can you hear me? Everybody is frozen. Network is fluctuating.
We can
Are you
hear
hearing
Yes,
me?
Prabhu.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
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 Okay. Please. You are hearing me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, Krishna is a sweet talker. We have to learn from Krishna. This morning I was listening to one lecture, and the Prabhu was saying,
Yes.
we should speak without I'm not hearing you. Your network is very bad. What are you saying, Mother Angel? What is Mother Angel saying?
We cannot hear as well, Prabhu. She's gone.
Please, I'm not hearing you. Please change your direction. Your network is very bad, please. Okay, so the Prabhu was saying we should speak without offending. We should speak without offending others. We should love without no expectation. We should listen without judging. And when you are listening to class, we should listen without defending. We should listen without defending. We should listen without defending. Sometimes when we listen to class, we do selective listening, selective listening. When they are talking very good and they are glorifying somebody about something, that is me. I hope everybody is realizing that they are talking about my glories. But then when they are talking about bad thing, they are looking at the other devotee. I hope you are hearing, they are talking about you. So someone listen to the lecture and thinking like that will not learn anything in the lecture, So he said we should listen without defending. We should speak without offending. We should love without expecting. We should. He says so many things which are very, very wonderful. I'll try to remember them. So yeah, Krishna is a sweet talker. I was just trying to say that. See how Krishna is calling Arjuna. What did he refer to Arjuna as?
Best of the embodied beings.
What is the word? Dehabritambara. Dehabritambara. Krishna is calling Arjuna Dehabritambara. Oh, best of the embodied being. Krishna is a sweet talker, Many places, Krishna will say, Kuru Satama, oh, best of the Kurus. And he will always refer to Arjuna in a very sweet way like this. How will Arjuna would not love such a speaker? Speaking and at the same time making the person feel good about themselves. Oh, best of the embodied. Just hear how Krishna is referring to Arjuna. Oh, best of the embodied. Oh, best of the Kuru. Oh, son of the Bharata, you know, Krishna speaks very nicely. He's a sweet talker. That's one of the great qualities of Krishna. Oh, best of the embodied being, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adibhuta, the material manifestation. That is number 4. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and moon, is called Adideva. That is number. And I, the supreme Lord, represented as the super soul in the heart of every being, am called Adi Jagya, the Lord of sacrifice. That is number. If you are following, you tell me.
Verse 6.
Thank you. Okay, so purports. Someone who have not read, please read.
Read it, Prabhuji. The physical nature is constantly changing. Material bodies generally pass through 6 stages. They are born, they grow, they remain for some duration, they produce some byproducts, they dwindle, and they vanish. This physical nature is called Adibhuta. It is created at certain point and will be annihilated at a certain point. The conception of the universal form of the Supreme Lord, which includes all the demigods and their different planets, is called Adidhaivata. And present in the body along with the individual soul is the super soul, a plenary representation of Lord Krishna. The super soul is called the Paramatma or Adi Agna and is situated in the heart. The word Eva is particularly important in the context of this verse because by this word the Lord stresses that the Paramatma is not different from him. The super soul, the supreme personality of Godhead, seated beside the individual soul, is the witness of the individual soul's activities and is a source of soul's various types of consciousness. The supersoul gives the individual soul an opportunity to act freely and witness his activities. The functions of all these different manifestations of the Supreme Lord automatically become clarified for the pure Krishna conscious devotee engaged in transcendental service to the Lord. The gigantic universal form of the Lord, called Adidhaivata, is contemplated by the neophyte who cannot approach the Supreme Lord in his manifestation as Supersoul. The neophyte is advised to contemplate the universal form or Virat Purusha, whose legs are considered the lower planets, whose eyes are considered the sun and moon, and whose head is considered the upper planetary system. Hare Krishna.
Nice answering all Arjuna's questions. Thank you very much, Mataji. In the Bhagavatam, in chapter 2, in Canto 2, and I think it's chapter 2 also, this the universal form of the Lord is fully described there. It's very, very important for us. That's why you see in chapter 11, Krishna is going to show the Virat Rupa to Arjuna. Why do we have to know about the Virat Rupa of Krishna? Why do we have to know about this universal form? Again and again, in every part of the scripture is mentioned. Because unless you are able to connect Krishna to everything in this world, you cannot go to the abode of Krishna. You have to be able to connect Krishna with everything. That's everything you see in this world, you have to see Krishna in them. If you are not able to do that connection, it will be very difficult for you to become conscious and go back to God. It will be very difficult. That is why even Parishit Maharaj had only 7 days to hear about Krishna. Krishna in Canto 5 talk about cosmology. What do the Daima need to do with cosmology, about the universe, creation, and everything? Why? Because it's part of understanding God. It's part of understanding his greatness. You see, in the Bible, there is no detailed explanation about the creation. Just let there the water, God created water on the first day and created light on the second day and the living entity on the 7th day, it take rest. That is all what we know about creation in the Bible. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, detailed explanation is given. How the living entity were created by Brahma, the primary creation by Krishna, the secondary creation by Brahma, and the different configuration of the different universe, the different how the other universe or the planet looks like. All these details are given to who? to a dying man who have only 7 days. Why do you have to hear all this? Because they are all part of Krishna's energy. If you want to know about Krishna, you have to know about him personally, and you have to know about all his energies. Krishna explained every detail to, Sukadeva Goswami, every detail, explained all details to Parishit Maharaj. He started from Canto 1, from Canto 2, talk about Virarupa. In Canto 3, he talks about creation. In Canto 4, he gave examples about the different devotees and how the Krishna, and how the devotee perform Jagya to know Krishna. In Canto 5, he talked about cosmology, talk about the hellish planet. In Canto 6, he gave another example about how devotees were liberated from the material world. In Canto 7, he talks about how the Lord protect his devotee. Like Rishinga pastime. In Canto 8, he talks about that pastime in Canto 8. Talks about I forget that. In Canto 9, he talks about the form of Lord Ram. In Canto 10, he now started talking about himself, Krishna. Then in Canto 11, he gave more detailed knowledge to Uddhava and all. In Canto 12, then he concluded everything. Why did a dying man have to listen to all this detailed knowledge about Krishna? Both creation, talking about how the Lord protected other devotees, how the Lord is always there for his devotee, and also the dynasty of how Krishna came, how Lord Ramachandra came. Why did he have to listen to all this? Because they are connected to Krishna. And that is why you see Arjuna also going to hear about the Virarupa in chapter 11. Because everything is connected to Krishna. So once we're able to come to that self-realization of able to connect everything back to God, then that is the beginning of devotional service. That is the beginning of devotional service. If you have not reached that level, you have not understood who Krishna is, what is good, and what is his energies are. You have not understood. Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atmana Sushati Nakrishati Sarvasa Veshubhute Shubhat Bhakti Labate Param. Until we come to that level of Brahma Bhuta platform, you cannot understand Krishna. Okay, so here Krishna is talking about all this to Arjuna. These are based on how Arjuna is asking, and Krishna is going to give further clarification in all, the coming chapters. All from this question Arjuna asked. Okay. Atakale chamam eva smara mutakale varamya prayati samadvavam yati nasyatra samsaya. And whoever at the end of life quit his body, remembering me alone, at once attain my nature. Of this, there is no doubt. So which question Krishna, because Krishna have only answered six. So which one is he answering here? I want to ask. Let me see who is following the Bhagavad Gita, the way we are studying it. Which question Krishna is answering here? Because he has to answer all the questions. That is Krishna.
He's answering, like, how can the devotees remember him at the time of death?
Haribo, very good. Thank you. That is it. Yes. So Krishna is saying here that whoever at the end of life put his body remembering me alone at once and take my nation of this, there is no doubt. There is no doubt. Sometimes when you listen to this, you think that you can trick Krishna. No, is that the conclusion of this whole everything about Krishna? Okay, very good. Let me go and enjoy my life. Then at the time of death, I will just remember Krishna. Then I will go to him. So no more practicing again. Let me go and enjoy. There was one rich man in India. So he has heard about this. That if you die in the Vrindavan, you will go back to the abode of Krishna. So when he was sick, seriously sick, ill, and he was about to die, he said they should rush him to Vrindavan. So they rushed him to Vrindavan. So when they got to Vrindavan, he was thinking he's going to die. He became very strong and okay. His body became well. He became very strong. And you know, a businessman, you know what it means, no? Oh, my body's become very strong now. Very good. Let me go and enjoy more. Okay, let's go back. So as they left Vrindavan, they are going back. He died inside the car. He died inside the car. So you cannot trick Krishna. You cannot trick Krishna. You can only trick yourself. You can only deceive yourself. You cannot deceive Krishna. You cannot trick Krishna. Krishna is the master of, is the cheat among the gamblers. Krishna say, I'm the cheat. You cannot cheat him. So in this way, he cheated that man. There was another man, very big businessman who came to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, you know, I have so much money. I'm doing business. I cannot sleep. Prabhupada said, give all the money to us and go and sleep. You give all the money to Krishna and go and sleep. If that is your problem. You know. But it's true. You see all these rich men, all rich people, most of the time they don't sleep. Most of the time they don't sleep. The only happiness they get in life, is to flash their wealth and hear about their glories, how they are very wealthy. That is the only happiness they get in life. Apart from that, it's very boring. Go and ask a famous person about their life. They will tell you to be famous is boring. Because why? You are no more free. You are like somebody who is in prison. Like you are in bondage. When you cough, the media will hear about it. When you drink water, the media will talk about it. When you eat, the media will talk about it. So that is why you see many of these famous people, they take drugs because their life become very miserable. Become very miserable. And the rich people also. That is why they say the rich also cry. But what the money gives, me, I don't say we should not get money. I don't promote poverty. Poverty itself is a disease. Poverty makes you to commit all kinds of sinful activities also. Okay? So Bhakti Shastri say we should have money so that we don't think about money. See? So, but when you have too much, that you don't have anything to do with it, it makes your life more miserable. So that is why a devotee live a modest life. Krishna say we should take only what we need. See? That is life. So we should learn to balance everything in life. So let's read the purport. Krishna said, if you remember him at the time of death, surely you will attain him without a doubt. This is Krishna's promise. We should understand. Who is reading?
Okay, I'll read. Purport. In this verse, the importance of Krishna consciousness is stressed. Anyone who quits his body in Krishna consciousness is at once transferred to the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the purest of the pure. Therefore, anyone who is constantly Krishna conscious is also the purest of the pure. The word Shmaran, remembering, is important. Remembrance of Krishna is not possible for the impure soul, who has not practiced Krishna consciousness in devotional service. Therefore, one should practice Krishna consciousness from the very beginning of life. If one wants to achieve success at the end of his life, the process of remembering Krishna is essential. Therefore, one should constantly, incessantly chant the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Chaitanya has advised that one be as tolerant as a tree, Taror api sahishnuna. There may be so many impediments for a person who is chanting Hare Krishna. Nonetheless, tolerating all these impediments, one should continue to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, so that at the end of one's life, one can have the full benefit of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
So we can hear from Prabhupada. There may be so many impediments for one who is chanting Hare Krishna, but we should not stop chanting. We should chant. We should have a great resolve to chant till the end of our life. Very important. So let's read verse 6, then we will read Prabhupada's quotes. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tajanti atikale varam tam tamivanti kunteya sadata babavita. This verse is very, very important, and memorize it. The devotee can memorize it also. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. So whatever we remember at the time of death, that is what we attain. If you remember a woman, you become a woman. If you remember a man, you become a man. If you remember a cat, you become a cat. If you remember a dog, you become a dog. Whatever you remember, that is what you become. It's very simple. Whatever we remember, that is what we're becoming at the time of. So, as a devotee, that is why we are practicing to remember Krishna. Very, very important. So let's read it, then we will talk. We read the Prabhupada's quotes. Who has not read?
Already,
Please
Prabhu.
read.
Oh,
Okay, okay.
okay.
Can go
The
ahead, yeah.
process of changing one's nature at the critical moment of death is here explained. A person who at the end of his life hates his body, thinking of Krishna attains the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. But it's not true. The person who thinks of something other than Krishna attains the same transcendental state. That is the point. We should note very carefully. One can die in the proper state of mind. Maharaj Bharata, although died. So in his next life, he wants to transfer into the body of deer. Although as a deer, he had to accept that animal body. Of course, once told during the course of one's life, accumulated to the influence of the thoughts at the moment of death. So this life creates one's next life. Once presents the life one leads the mode of goodness and always think of Krishna, that is possible, the will help one to be transferred to the transcendental nature of Krishna. If one is transcendentally absorbed in Krishna service, then his next body will be transcendental spiritual, not material. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Rama, Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
is the best process of successfully changing one's state of being in the end of one's life. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So I'll just share Prabhupada's quotes so that we can read. Let's read from 5. Can somebody see the quotes?
Yes,
Yes,
we can.
Prabhu.
Yeah. Yes, let's read from 5 and 6.
This is the ultimate goal of Krishna consciousness, that Antakale, at the time of death, at the end of life, Antakale chamam, unto me, Antakale chamam eva, certainly, Smaran, you will remember Krishna. Deity worship is especially meant for this purpose, so that you go on worshipping the deity of Radha and Krishna And then you will be able to think of Radha Krishna always within your heart. This practice is needed. How great devotees faced death. Parikshit Maharaja, let the snake bird bite me at once. I only desire that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.19.15. Okay. So this practice of Krishna consciousness is Sadha Tad Bhava Bhavitaha. If you always think of Krishna, naturally you will think of Krishna at the time of death. And the result will be that in the next life you will get a body like Krishna. The following is a letter written by a devotee on his deathbed to his friend, taken from a lecture by SDG. I have to tell you about the place I'm staying in. It's a huge hospital, like a factory. It is next to a soulless suburb. Some of the people are in horrible shape. At night, people are screaming and crying. The jaws of karma are chewing them. Amazingly, I'm not losing my mind. I never felt so strong spiritually. Every day, I drink the nectar of SP's words in Gita. This is the true remedy for all diseases in life. This body has to go anyway. Anxiety is not necessary. Every living entity taking birth has to die. This issue is not to live and die. It is to know and realize who we really are. We have to concentrate our minds on Krishna, His beauty, and develop a loving attraction for Him. Of course, we have to serve His devotees when we can. This is what pleases Him the most. Never should we criticize someone engaged in his service, faulty or not. Mental offenses as well as verbal bring down, fall down, and misery. SDG, we pay more attention to someone on his deathbed. This is his last time to say things, and there is no need to put up any pretense. There are lessons we should take to heart. This devotee did have some problems with making offenses to other devotees. I beg you to consider all this and think about your life. I'm experiencing these trials for my benefit and for yours. Please be serious in your devotional life. Please make as much as progress as you can while you are able to function as a normal human being. Read the Gita again. Take notes. Collect the verses that inspire you the most. Chant your heart out in front of the beautiful Krishna Balarama and serve Guru Maharaja to the best of your ability. Then you will be safe and peaceful all your life and at the time of your death, and your mind will be fixed as well as your destination. Don't lose a minute. There is no time to waste. The clock is ticking. Death is the most serious thing in your life. This is what we have to prepare ourselves for. Here, people are trying to forget their anxieties by getting deeper into illusion. They watch TV on their deathbed. They do crosswords. They read mundane magazines like Enquirer or Globe. This is so sad. They listen to music and try to absorb themselves in the material sound vibration, but it does not do any good. Their anxieties are limitless. I had some period where I felt worried about my health, but I was never scared in a big way. It's not that I'm very courageous. It was just Krishna protecting me in the form of his holy name. In the worst times, I chanted mentally the Mahamantra over and over again, and I felt secure. Either I would have died thinking of Hare Krishna or lived thinking of Krishna. So why worry? 7.
Thank you very much. So that is Prabhupada is telling us some quotes from other devotee. When you go to the hospital where people are dying, you understand what this devotee is saying. You see people, there's one devotee in Russia, when he was on his deathbed, he was about to die. Then he went out of his body and he saw these weird human beings. He doesn't know about devotees before that time. He just saw these weird human beings, became scared. He was so scared. So when he came back to his body, one day he now find the devotees. And he took book from the devotees and he was reading the books. Then when he was hearing about the description of Yamadutas, he could remember very clearly that these are the kind of people he saw in his, when he was unconscious. The way they were described in the Bhagavatam. You see? So these things are real. You see, people, they live their life, all their life as if they don't care about whether God exists or not. They don't do whatever, they just do whatever they like. These people become more fearful when they're about to getting close to their final days. They become more fearful because they know what they have done. That is why devotees, they are fearless when they are leaving their body. They are very, go to where devotees are leaving their body in Vrindavan, in Mayapur. They are so fearless. They just want to remember Krishna. They just want devotees to continue chanting about Krishna to them. They are so fearless. You don't see them panicking or scared. You don't see. They just listen to Krishna's name, and like that they leave the body peacefully. Just to tell you how real what we are doing is, how practical it is. You know? But go to the hospital, you see people how they are dying, they are scared, they are shouting, you know? So that is why, as a devotee, we should understand and practice this. Sorry, somebody is looking at my door. Sorry, they came to give me change of my bills. Okay. We have to pay bills also. So the role is, they are not scared, they are so peaceful. Spend all their life in Christians. You just go. Whenever you go to the Holy Land, go to all those places where the devotee live in their body. Just go and experience one devotee live in their body. You will see, you understand what I'm saying. I've seen many of them, so I know what I'm saying. In Mayapur, in Vrindavan. Sometimes when they tell me that the one devotee is about to leave their body, I will go there also to join the Kirtan group, to chant for the devotee. You will just see. You will see how they are so fearless, so blissful, so happy to leave their body. Meanwhile, you go to where the karmis are leaving their body, you see how scared they are, how they're fearful they are, how they are shouting. You see? So this Krishna consciousness is real. So there's no doubt about that. So we should take it with all our hearts and pray to Krishna that. I remember those days when I was brahmachari, I had more prayers. My only prayer was, Krishna, no matter whatever happened in the future life, I don't know my future life. Please don't let me give up devotional service. You see, if I have not made that prayer, I don't know, maybe I would have left devotional service when things became very difficult for me. You see, that is why when we are in our good mind, we should pray to Krishna. When our faith is very strong and our heart is very clear, we should pray to Krishna at that time. Just like we read in that purport of King Kulashekara. He said, Krishna, my heart is very strong. Now my consciousness is very clear. Take me now. We are not on that level of King Kulashekara. We don't need to pray for death. We are not on that level. But we should pray. But we should pray, Krishna, please, no matter whatever happened to me in the future life, I don't know my karma that is still unfolding in the future life. I don't know. But no matter what happened, Krishna, please don't let me give up the path of devotional service. We should pray like this. Because to live your life in devotional service to the end of your life is the greatest blessing you can get. Okay. Let's continue. Okay, now we have question and answer session. Any question or comments?
Prabhu, I have questions.
Jai, Haribo. Whenever you say you have question, my body, I start having goosebumps in my body. Thank you.
So Prabhu, it's like, for example, Prabhu, the person is already in his deathbed, but
Yeah.
but he is indeed thinking about Shri Krishna. However, at the same time, he was thinking about something else as well. So it's like simultaneous thoughts, Shri Krishna and another thought here. So what is like the position of that person when he dies, when he is in that kind of thoughts?
He will come back, maybe he will come back in the house of a devotee. Yeah. That is why the mind has to be very focused at the time of death. Very focused on Krishna. Nothing else should come in between. Nothing else. Once there's anything coming between, you will come back to this world. But then you come out in the house of a devotee, or you come in a place where you get opportunity to do devotional right from your bed, like that. So that is it. So as a devotee, we should practice. We should practice all this thing we are learning. We should practice it. So that is why, we should at night when we want to sleep, our last focus should be on Krishna. Every night we should practice as if every night is our last day. Means that before sleeping, Prabhupada said we recommended that we should read Krishna book. You see? So we should read Krishna book. So many wonderful pastimes in Krishna book. We should read them again and again. So many sweet stories. That will make us to really become You see, Prabhupada, he knew that maybe not be able to finish translating the Bhagavatam. So quickly, he translated the whole Krishna book for us. So we should read it, like every night. We should develop this reading habit that maybe we can read it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So we can develop that habit. Very good. Any other question or comments? Thank you very much for that.
I have a story.
Okay.
It's a funny one.
Okay, tell us.
Because we have cats in this household, and normally if we get mouse, if there's a mouse around the house, we would tell the cat, go chase the mouse. And then of course our female cat would do it. She's like a huntress. So one day our female cat got pregnant. So babies were born, kittens, and these kittens were so weird, Prabhu. They look like mouse. They look like mice. It's so funny because they would sleep like how a mouse sleeps, standing up like this.
Oh my God.
It's so funny because you just know that the mouse, when it died, it remembers our cat, and so it was born as a kitten on its next life. And it's just a really great proof that that's how reincarnation works. Whatever you remember in your previous life, that's what your form is in your present life, in your next life. And also, another cat story, Prabhu. Because when you think of cats, you know that there are two genders, right? There are like male and female cats. But we have a unique cat in our house. We have a gay cat. Have you heard of that?
What?
Gay cat.
Gay.
Our cat is a male, like biologically it's a male cat, but it has a partner, another male cat, and they're together. It's like LGBTQ but cat version. And it's so weird, right? Isn't it?
So weird. I don't know how to understand
Maybe.
that. It's so weird, yeah?
Right.
No,
And
but,
nobody believes me, Prabhu, whenever I tell them that story, that our cat is gay.
No, but
They're really together.
One thing that is there is that one thing I've noticed here in the Philippines is that there's so many all these transgenders. So the consciousness of the people must be very, very much like that. That's why you get so many of that kind of living entity coming to this country. Means that many of the people in this country, they have that kind of consciousness. Because in whatever kind of species of human being you find in a particular country or place, means that the consciousness of the people in that particular area is of that kind of nature. That's why you find more of that kind of people there. You know, like in Africa, In Africa, it's very rare for you to get a gay or lesbian. Very rare, very rare, very rare. Now, because they become, many of them going to the West, they are trying to follow them. But in Africa itself, in the country, very rare that a woman want to, oh, I want to be a lesbian or I want to be a gay. A man say, I want to, no, very rare, very rare, very rare. So, but in a particular country, we find more of those kind of people. So people who are born in a particular place where a particular consciousness is very prominent, based on whatever they are taking in their past life. Because our consciousness is a collective consciousness of a place where we appear. You know, just like we have our consciousness, there is a universal consciousness also, where everybody is plugged in. So the universal consciousness of the creation put people according to their last consciousness when they are living their body in a particular environment where that kind of consciousness fits in. So I'm not surprised that there is a gay cat in your house. So don't worry, because there's so many gay people in Philippines itself.
It's a medical marvel, Prabhu. I don't think I've heard of a gay cat.
No, because there's so many gay also here in the Philippines itself. So many gay and lesbian. So it's a collective consciousness. So the living entity, the animals in that environment also, they will have it. So these gay cats you're talking, they are human being in their past life. So they don't have the qualification to get a human body again. So they get cat bodies. So that consciousness is still there in them. So they get it also in the cat body. You know, like almost every day now I go to the Visoria and I see all these men who dress like women and like that.
Sometimes, Prabhu, they're even beautiful, more beautiful than us, the transgenders. They look even more real.
Yeah. Yes. I have seen them. I see them in the Visoria. When I go to the Visoria, they dress like women. And some of them, when I'm going in the Divisoria, when I'm going in the 168 mall, they are teasing me. You know, they say, come here. You know, like I will just be looking straight because I don't. I will just be looking. I don't look back and look at. I don't look at them 2 times. You know, because So it's a collective consciousness of the environment. Then you find people like that. There's so many people who are so many women who are disappointed about men, so many men who are disappointed about women. So all of them get born in that environment and, consciousness messed up, they don't really know who they are, whether they want to become woman or they want to become man. Mess up, It's a collective consciousness of the environment. So thank you for sharing that. So I'm not surprised that the cat also has that also. Okay.
But I love our movement, Prabhu. We accept them. I love the Krishna consciousness movement because we accept those people who are transgenders, who may be bisexual or gay or lesbian. We accept them. They can still become a devotee.
Well, we don't talk against them, but those kind of people, if they want to practice emotional habit, we cannot stop them. But one thing about this kind of people is that wherever they go, also they want to create their own group. So once they start creating their own group, it means that they're becoming bodily conscious again. Then the whole thing is defeated. Because Krishna consciousness means we are not the body. When they start creating their own group, start grouping themselves based on that kind of consciousness, then you should know that your movement is in trouble also. Because the beginning of our philosophy is that we are not the body. So if they are acting based on that platform that we are not the body, it's okay. But once they start identifying themselves as the body and they start trying to create their own group, then the movement is in trouble also. It's not easy. It's not easy. We don't discriminate against anybody as long as the person wants to surrender to Krishna. But in this material world, to really realize that you are not the body, it's not easy. Okay po. Talaga.
Okay po.
Thank you, Prabhu. Salamat.
Maraming salamat po. See you bukas. Bancha kapataru biyasa kipasu biyagacha. Patitanam pavanevyo vaishnavevyo namo namaha. So see you tomorrow. We'll continue from where we stop.
Tomorrow.
We'll continue from test 7. So Krishna is going to talk more about how to attain devotional service and like that. And text 7 is about, I love text 7 actually. I always quote text 7. How Krishna tell Arjuna to remember him when he's doing his duty and all the rest like that. So we're going to hear more about that tomorrow, and Krishna will talk more about what happened when somebody leave their particular time and all the rest like that. Okay, so we can read, if you have time, we can read before the class. Then we can have more questions, we can share more, have more sharings. Sige po.
Okay po.
Thank you. I have to
Bye-bye po.
start practicing my Tagalog, So sometimes you should just speak to me in Tagalog without translating it so that I can start forcing myself to speak Tagalog. Hare Krishna.